Hello everyone and welcome to this Couch Coaches video. I am your host Billy Trice. So, guys, I want to shed some light on my Philadelphia Eagles. I know the Madden rankings just came out and everybody's hype about us. We had the highest rating on Madden 20, so that was a big deal. But I want to talk about three areas of this Philadelphia Eagles team, three players of this Philadelphia Eagles team that I feel that we need to focus in on and hone in on, and are the keys to the Philadelphia Eagles succeeding, other than, of course, Carson Wentz. So when I look at this team, top to bottom, these are the three guys that I feel are key and the most influential in the Eagles propelling and achieving another Super Bowl. So, first, top of my list, Andre Dillard. And if you're wondering why I chose Andre and why I'm choosing a backup rookie, our first round pick in the 2019 draft, is because Jason Peters is not going to last the full season. He hasn't lasted a full season within the past 3 seasons that he's played. He's only getting older. We did bring him back, but I just don't see him making it through a whole NFL season. And so the reason we drafted this guy so high in Dillard is because he was going to be able to fill this role. You could see that the team didn't really have didn't have a lot of faith in Vaitai anymore. Didn't really want to wait around for him. You do have guys like Matt Pryor, but you don't have a lot of faith in him. He's a journeyman, and of course the old rugby player. He's still learning the game. He's still learning the NFL, and he's not ready yet either. So, in a sense, all you really have to put out there is Dillard, and if he doesn't play up to par in how we projected him to play, then that's really going to hurt this Eagles team, because the blind side of Carson Wentz is extremely important, and this team has already given you the vibe that they don't want to move Lane Johnson over there. So for this season and for the near future, Dillard has to move into that slot and be able to be that guy. He's a solid pass blocker. He comes from Washington, but he hasn't done a lot of run blocking, and especially the power blocking scheme that I think that the Eagles are going to use this season with the running back by committee that they have in Jordan Howard and Sanders and a bunch of those guys, Clement as well. So he's gonna have to figure that out. He's gonna have to learn on the fly, and he's gonna have to learn quickly if this Eagles team is gonna go to where we think they're gonna end up going. So moving on, I want to transition into the defense now. Zac Brown, new acquisition from Washington, coming over 3 seasons ago. He had over 100 over 100 tackles total. Then when we take him and his numbers and we compare them last season to our best tackler on our team, our best linebacking tackler in Nigel Bradham, his numbers are over him. When you look at last season for Zac Brown, right? 96 total tackles, 69 solo, and 27 assisted, right? Then when we look at Nigel had 97 total tackles, he had 67 solo, and 30 assisted. Nigel Bradham played 15 games, and Zac Brown, he played 16, but he only started in 12 of them. Nigel Bradham started in 15 games, and yet and still he had a little less production than Zac Brown. So if Zac Brown is even able to play as he played the season before here in Philadelphia, great things are going to happen for this team, and that's really what we needed as well. When you lose a Jordan Hicks, especially, just you kind of had to let Jordan go because of the injury history. When your middle linebacker is not out there week in, week out, it hurts you no matter what team you are, no matter what scheme you are. Your middle linebacker is like your quarterback out there. And, of course, Malcolm Jenkins picked up that slack just because he's a leader on that defense. And, he knows a lot of the calls as well. But in a sense, you still need that middle linebacker to hold down the run. And that was a lot of our problems last season. When Jordan Hicks got hurt, the run game fell to the ground. Our run-stopping game fell to the ground. We weren't really able to stop guys on the run. A lot of people were running all over us. And now when you have a solid guy in Zac Brown, who does, have a little injury problems himself, but for the most part stays on the field for most of the season. That's what you need, and that's definitely going to help your team and add a lot more production to your team than in a guy like Jordan Hicks, who's rarely ever on the field. But moving on, lastly, my last one is a little different because I don't want to really talk about just one guy. It's a whole group, and I have to talk about the quarterbacks right now, guys. So I'm not choosing just one cornerback just because I don't even know which one's going to start. This camp is going to be so big for the quarterback position. Guys are literally fighting for their spots. Ronald Darby, Jalen Mills, Rasul Douglas, Sidney Jones, Avonte Maddox. These guys are fighting for their spots right now because each and every one of these guys, you've seen flashes of greatness, flashes of talent, flashes of being able to be a starting corner or nickel guy in this league. But then you've also seen the other side of these guys as well. You've seen these guys miss tackles. You've seen these guys get burned on a deep route. You've seen these guys make stupid penalties and hurt their team. So you got a lot of young talent and a lot of guys that are still trying to find their role in the NFL. And so it's going to make for a very competitive camp. And so when I'm going into camp right now, let's say we're going into camp. The camp is, coming up in August, into July, I should say. But if I had to choose who I think is going to be the cream of the crop here, I'd have to say Ronald Darby just off of his speed aspect. His ability, even when he is burnt, to have that recovery speed to still make a play and still get into a play. You can't teach that. You can't work on that in the film room. That's a God gift. When I'm looking at the other side, this might surprise you guys, but Avonte Maddox, I loved his aggressiveness on the outside. He didn't get as burnt as much as I thought he was going to get toasted on the outside. I know he played a little safety at first when McLeod got hurt earlier in the season, but then when the secondary became even more depleted than it already was, he kind of had to move to the corner spot and make it work there. And I think he played very well. I think he played at an elite level. Avonte Maddox could be that guy that I'm still questioning about Sidney Jones. I don't know if he has it in him. What I saw from him last year, I didn't see enough. It was frustrating. He looked soft. He looked slow at times, and I don't know if he just needed more time to recover from that Achilles. I really don't know. But hopefully we see more from him. But I really do want to see him more in the slot. I think he could be a really good slot guy. Avonte Maddox could be a slot guy too. You could maybe see if he works in there. I didn't really like him too much at the slot, but I think if he had a little bit more time being accustomed and adjusting to the slot position, I think he could figure it out. And lastly, not lastly, but I want to talk about Rasul now. I love Rasul, West Virginia guy. I liked him a little bit more when he was first coming out last season. He had his games where it was frustrating to watch him play. He would bite on the double moves, and so would Avonte Maddox, and of course Jalen Mills is known for that. But he's just so inconsistent, and all these guys are. But really, Rasul is just so inconsistent to where last season there was just times where it was like, yeah, Rasul, that's what we needed. Solid play, great timing, great footwork. He was in the right spots at the right time. But then there was other games where I was just like, Rasul, what are you doing? I need you to do more. Like, you're not in your spots. You're making boneheaded plays. Like, what's really going on? And that could also be with the lack of communication and camaraderie that the secondary had last season, just because you had a lot of interchanging parts with guys getting hurt. So it's really hard for you guys to be on the same page. And in the secondary, that is very key. Everybody being on the same page, knowing where they're supposed to be, having trust in your guys. That's a big part of playing in the secondary. Any guy can tell you that he's played. So when you don't have that cohesiveness, it's very rough. So I do understand that, but still, I need to see more consistency from Rasul. Lastly, now Jalen Mills, my guy, Green Goblin. I love his toughness. I love his next play attitude. It doesn't matter if he gets burned. It's his mind resets each play, and I love that about him. What hurts Jalen is his physical ability. He's not that fast. His hip fluidity is very subpar. I'm for a starting corner, I should say. For a starting corner, it's subpar. It's okay. It's average. It gets the job done, but you would want more. You earn for more. So that's kind of my big problem with Jalen, and of course the double moves. Like, he's got to be a little more disciplined and not jump on every single outside cut, because when he does that, he just leaves his team wide open to get burned and helps the opponent's offense put points on the board, and you can't do that as a corner. That's your number one job, is to not let anything get behind you and beat you, especially when you're in cover three. So that's something that I need him to work on. And at the end of the day, when I'm looking at this group as a whole, like I said, I think it's going to be Darby and Avonte Maddox, just because of their play styles and their speed aspect and how I've seen them play last year and years prior. I think those two will stick, and they're still going to keep Rasul, Sidney, and Jalen for backup, just in case you have injuries just like last season. But those are my two starters, and that's kind of how I feel we should look at the Eagles roster this year. Those are the three main aspects and areas that I feel like we should focus on and that are key to the success of our Eagles, of course, winning another Super Bowl. But hey, guys, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please comment below who you think is the most important guys or players or group that we need to focus on for us to win another Super Bowl. I'd love to hear it. Please follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, at BillTrice31. I'll accept any questions, DM me. For any video ideas, just let me know. Thanks, guys, for watching.